Good morning, everyone. It's Cynthia with your daily tarot card of the day. Thank you so much for joining me. This week we are using the Tarot of the Spirit, and I have information about this deck in the description box below. I'm going to take a moment while I shuffle the cards to tune into today's energies. These messages are timeless. So whenever you happen to find this reading and you're inspired to watch, you're likely going to find a message here for you. But of course, take what resonates and leave the rest of it behind. Again, they are general messages for the collective regarding the day's energies. I invite you to tune into your own intuition, your own higher self, spirit guides, inner guidance, what have you, so that whatever card comes up, you might receive your own personal messages and insights. Whoops. Yes. Yes. The Garden, Seven of Pentacles, or Seven of Earth. Yes, yes. That almost looks like, I don't know if anybody here knows human design, but that almost looks like the sort of diamond prism triangle of human design chart. That's interesting. But the Seven of Pentacles, this is a beautiful energy, from compost to roses, but it takes patience. And it takes some time. What's that saying I'm reminded of? Mother Nature takes her time, but everything always gets done. So there's something in that in terms of being patient and allowing certain things to unfold. There could be, like, there's almost a sense of it being in a situation where you've taken something as far as you could go, and you can feel like you're blocked because you don't have this, or you didn't hear back from that person, or you need to wait until such and such a time. And if that's really on a very practical level true for you, then it's not so much that you're stuck or that you're blocked, but rather you need to wait. And waiting impatiently is different than just letting something go and allowing things to unfold. And in the next moment that you have to do something or take a step, you'll know what that moment is and, you know, be able to move forward. So it's almost like trying to not think of it as waiting, I guess. I mean, it's hard to not think of it, you know, like when you've got cookies in the oven, you're sitting there with your mouth watering, waiting. You know what I mean? Something like that, right? But at the same time, what do you do with that time? And now I'm seeing a picture of, like, my grandmother. You know, she didn't necessarily put on a timer when she had something cooking or baking. It was more of like they were timed by tasks. So it's like if something were in the oven and she was waiting for it to bake, then she knew that she could vacuum the whole downstairs, and by the time she was done vacuuming, the thing would be done, right? So it's almost like this, like where you put your attention helps to just sort of move things along. So, or task stacking, I just heard. So it's almost like, yeah. Again, instead of sitting and waiting with that, and then you get that tension that rises up and eventually turns into impatience. It's not so much that you want to distract yourself, it's just that when you redirect your attention in a productive manner, you know, you're putting your energy fully into something else. And that can sometimes make it a little bit easier because you're allowing things to cycle through, right? So there's something here about cycling time or cycling tasks or stacking tasks. And that can make, you know, something, a quote unquote waiting game, a little bit easier because you're not going to sit in the impatience or distractibility, but you're actually going to keep the momentum of excitement and anticipation. So you're going to be able to keep your vibration higher by managing these energies in a particular way that helps to balance things out. And you also help to keep yourself from going down the impatient path, the path that might bring you into feeling stuck or powerless or you know, bored or not feeling right or not feeling good, right? It's more of like you keep your thoughts from going that route by keeping them occupied with things that you actually enjoy, or, you know, with other energies. So there's something here about within this energy where something could be coming through and getting ready to, you know, move ahead for you. There's this pause, there's this moment of kind of waiting. And today's energy is just inviting you to open up to putting your attention and your good feeling on something else while that sort of stews in the background, whatever it is that you're waiting on. Because you're not going to miss it. When it comes around, it's going to be fully with you, right? You're going to recognize and realize your harvest. That's coming. It's set. But putting yourself in a position of feeling blocked or waiting or stuck or disempowered in some fashion, that puts your energy in this total barren space. And so you're being invited today to sort of redirect that energy, to, you know, ramp up the excitement or the interest or the passion or the anticipation. And that kind of helps to feed the faith rather than the disempowerment. So today's energy definitely seems to be bringing up this sense of empowerment, this sense of, you know, yeah, there's some patience here and that can be hard to engage with, but this sense of, you know, feed the momentum with anticipation. And then once you get that high vibe there, direct that energy towards something else that you're inspired by or interested in or passionate about in order to keep that momentum going, because that keeps the energy moving further. And then boom, before you know it, whatever it is that you feel like you're waiting on will be realized, will be presented, will be ready to harvest. So So the pause, the downtime is not meant to be a hindrance or a blockage. However, it is, like I said, an invitation for you to shift your energy, shift your attention, and, keep your vibe high, because you're not being disempowered by the situation unless you give your power over to the impatience or injustice of it all, or whatever the case might be, right? You can choose to either disempower yourself by this waiting period or empower yourself by this waiting period. And today's energy seems to be inviting you to build your energy high and redirect it. That could, again, when they're taking me back to like the task stacking, or the it's almost like moving resources, but it's like the resourcefulness of your time, your energy, your attention. But I suppose that could resonate for some of you. It could be showing up in a very practical way of like balancing certain resources, certain investments, or something like that in order to get it to grow. But it will take time for it to grow. That doesn't mean that you don't plant the seed. It just means that, you're recognizing, hey, I'm playing this for the long game, not instant gratification. I'm going to see this through to, through the unfoldment and through its growth, completion, harvest, whatever. I'm not just trying to get instant gratification or short-term gains or quick fixes. It's more of like it almost brings through like a Knight of Pentacles energy as well, like a slow and steady. But it doesn't have to be too slow. The thing about this particular Seven of Pentacles is that when you work with your own personal energy in that way of keeping high vibe and then putting your attention in letting that momentum take you, that actually helps things to move faster, because you're not constantly tending it. That came up. I'm getting the same phrase that they gave me last week for a client. You're making stew, not stirring risotto. So put the spoon down and leave it be. That was the image that they gave me. When you're making risotto, you're stirring and pouring and stirring and pouring, etc., right? You're taking your time with it, but you're tending it constantly. And they gave me that imagery to say, basically, I'm sure you get the idea, but basically, let it stew. Hands off for a little while, but put that energy into something else. So again, you're being invited to also make the choice. Are you in it for the long game, or are you looking for short-term quick fixes? Spirit would encourage you to focus on the long game, because that's a bigger picture that's going to give you more empowerment and more growth. But you're being invited to choose how you look at whatever the situation is, take it as it resonates, or, however it applies to the specifics of what's at hand for you. If you have to wait, are you going to be disempowered, impatient waiting, or are you going to be empowered, patient waiting? And, what either of those situations might look like for you, given whatever circumstance that you're finding yourself in. So an interesting Seven of Earth energy that definitely invites us to look at, how we're moving through certain things and how we're letting certain situations affect us, whether we feel in control of our own energy and where we put our attention, time, and resources, or if we're making fear-based decisions, or how we're putting our energy into other things at any given moment. So with that, I wish you a lot of love, peace, and blessings for a bountiful harvest that will be realized. We just can't get hung up on how long it takes. Thank you for joining me today. I look forward to being here with you tomorrow.